Hey, what's up guys, it's Apollo Uchiha here and welcome back to my channel. Today I am back with a new short movie. The name of this short movie is What If Naruto Fused with Kurama in Chunin Exams. And yeah guys, it is an unscripted short movie and my own idea. Now before continuing this, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you like the content of this channel. And without any further ado, let's begin with our today's short movie. Our story begins in Konoha no Sato, in the Chunin exams, as we go towards the Forest of Death to see that the second part of the exam was being held after the written test, as the Genin teams from all around the elemental nations have gathered there in Konoha to participate in order to gain more attention towards their village, and to also rise their ranks from Genins to Chunins. The Genins were handed a scroll each and were ordered to go inside and survive on their own for a whole week, and while doing so they had a task to do, and that was to gather the other team's scroll. And after gathering the scrolls that was different from theirs, they will complete their assignment, and the next thing they had to do was to reach the center part where there was situated a tower inside which they would be guided to the next part of the exam. And so forth, the teams have been sent with a scroll each to the Forest of Death to survive on their own from the dangers of the forest and from the enemy teams. And amongst them were the rookie of Konoha. The rookie teams of Genins were also sent, and amongst them was Team 7, who were currently facing the most dangerous enemy even the Chunins would rather not face, and that was one of the Sanins of Konoha who have went rogue a lot of time ago, and that was none other than Orochimaru, as he was currently standing in front of them, holding Naruto Uzumaki, a member of Team 7, in a neck choke, as on the other side, the other two members Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno were frozen, seeing their teammate against the wall being choked by the Sanin, as he was looking at them with menacing gaze as well as a terrifying aura of a sort. They were frozen by fear, as Orochimaru with a sinister smirk began to walk slowly towards them like a lion walking towards its prey, circling it. As Orochimaru then said towards Sasuke and the other two, is this the best Konoha has to offer in terms of Genin? Honestly, I am disappointed. If I was to be put as Hokage, you guys would have been tenfold stronger. I mean, the lowest of the lowest ranking Genin team from my village can wipe you out easily. As that is when we see Naruto Uzumaki then said, "Shut up, you snake slimy bastard!" As Orochimaru was quite shocked to hear this because the kid was in a neck choke. He was quite surprised to see that the kid had enough strength to even talk to him at this point. As that is when Naruto used the technique that was being taught to him by someone who has taken the liberty to train while Kakashi Hatake, the sensei of the Team 7, denied him. And that someone was Jiraiya of the Sanin. As Naruto began to have thoughts about how to get free from it, and that is when he realized he has to use that technique, even if his sensei for the time being warned him not to do so. As he had a flashback, remember kid, Rasengan is a technique that takes time to learn. The fourth Hokage and I both took a lot of time to learn and master this. It is a dense potent chakra in a condensed form that retreats in your hand like a weapon. It can be quite destructive for both you and for the other as well. It's a double-edged sword. To use it carefully, you have to train. And that is why I forbid you to use it even in the most difficult of situations until I say so otherwise. As now we go to the present where we see Naruto's vision was fading. He could barely hold on any longer. Damn it, I have to use it now, he thought to himself. If I don't, then I will die. As Naruto, after thinking that to himself, in order to survive, he brought out his hand forth and began to gather as much as chakra as he could in that hand. And to his surprise, a twisty form of unstable Rasengan began to form, which surprised even Orochimaru and the other two teammates. That is the Rasengan, thought Orochimaru to himself, while the other two, Sasuke and Sakura, watched with bewildered look as what their teammate was doing. The dope of the class, as Naruto then yelled out, "Rasengan!" as he slammed his hand against the hand of Orochimaru, as the explosion was so huge because Naruto put too much chakra into it that his hand was literally smoking himself. He could barely feel any sense in that hand or any touch. On the other side, Orochimaru was also in pain, scrunching his nose. Damn it, that brat! I did not knew that the brat could use it. Seemingly my old friend has taught some of his techniques to some of the new generation, I see. Thought Orochimaru with a smirk of his own, and that is when he stood up, as with a sinister smirk he then said, My oh my, that is quite a technique that you have there, little one. I could use someone like you on my side. How about it, Naruto Uzumaki? I know who you are, said Orochimaru, as his smirk widened, as Naruto flinched, as the other two, who were still frozen in shock and at awe of what Naruto has done to a Sanin, also were brought out of their stupor as they listened to Orochimaru's word. What are you trying to say? Said Sakura. It seems like you do not know. Ruzan-sama has forbade it. You better not say it. Forbade it, you say, young one. But I am not a part of this village, and I don't have to listen to his orders. So either you come with me willingly, alongside the Uchiha, or I will have to use force. As now we see, Naruto then said, I won't allow you to do that, as using the Kagebunshin no Jutsu, making the hand seals, Naruto summoned 10 of his clones, and using those 10 clones alongside himself, with will and courage alone, Naruto charged at the Sanin, knowing that the enemy that he was about to face might be his last. As Naruto charged, Orochimaru just stood there with one of his hands still immobile because of the wound that Naruto inflicted, while the other one was more than enough to poof away the clones and grab Naruto again and slam him into the wall. But this time Orochimaru didn't stop there. He ripped out Naruto's shirt and began to do one-handed hand seals and summoned a seal atop of Naruto's seal on the stomach that was used to hold something sinister and dark within him. As Naruto felt extreme pain when the sealing process was done, as Naruto scrunched up on the ground and was in agony. As now we see, Orochimaru then said, that will keep you on hold. And as for you, Sasuke Uchiha, I have a gift for you. As now the fear consumed the other two, seeing that their teammate, who foolishly yet courageously charged towards the Sanin, was on the ground. What was about to happen to them was the only thought that they had. As now we see Orochimaru elongated his neck to the point where in the blink of an eye he was near Sasuke and bit him on the neck, passing another seal, as Sasuke too fell down to his knees in agony, and soon too he was passed out. Sakura just stood there frozen. What is going on? Is this some sort of nightmare? She thought to herself. Because at one moment Naruto was gone and down on the ground unconscious, and the second one, in a blink of an eye, Sasuke too. What was about to happen to her? As she closed her eyes with fear, but that is when nothing happened. She just stood there. After a few moments passed, she opened her eyes to gaze, to find that Orochimaru was gone. They were the only ones standing there, alongside the dead Genins from Amegakure, amongst whom Orochimaru was also impersonating one. As now we see, Sakura then looked towards the two of the unconscious teammates. Sasuke-kun, Naruto, what should I do? As that is when she heard rustling in the bushes, as now we see she put out a kunai out of her holster and steeled herself to face and defend her defenseless teammates who were knocked out. As that is when out came none other than Ino Yamanaka. Billboard bro, what are you doing here? As she then gasped, Sasuke-kun, what have you done to him? Did you try to kill him? Because he denied you? What? No, I didn't. As that is when, following her were her teammates, as both Shikamaru and Choji arrived as well. They were also a rookie team made out of the Inoshikacho trio, which was legendary in Konoha, as were their parents, and now they had to carry on the legacy of Inoshikacho, and so they were placed in a team of their own under Asuma Sarutobi. As now we see, they were also now present there, looking towards the unconscious form of their fellow mates. As Shikamaru then noticed Sakura, who was also ruffled up badly, as he then stopped Ino. Ino, listen. Look towards her. She's in deep shock. Something must have happened. Are you guys okay? Said Choji, as he had a frown on his face, which was more than enough for Choji to, show that he was more than enough of concern. As now we see, Sakura then said, I don't know how this happened? One moment we were fighting a team from army, and the next one, he appeared. He knocked out Naruto and did something to him, and then Sasuke. He too was targeted, and both of them were knocked out. I thought I was about to die, she said as she fell down to the ground on her knees, as she began to hyperventilate. As Ino, seeing the seriousness of the situation, dropped down her act of a rival and acted more like a concerned teammate and a friend. Sakura, breathe. Calm your nerves down. You two, we have to get them out of here. Let's move towards the tower, said Shikamaru. We already have our scroll. You have yours? Yeah, I think so. Good. Joji, check on the scrolls. As after checking both of the scrolls, Joji nodded. Good. Joji, I need you to use your expansion jutsu to grab onto both of them. We're gonna move now. The move we faster, the better, because if we stay here, it is more likely that you are going to be targeted and hunted for the scrolls, because there are many other out there still. As now we see, it took them 2 days of travel while also avoiding and using Shikamaru's guidance with stealth to arrive at the center heart where the tower was situated. Thanks to Shikamaru and the other two being with them, Sakura had a support, but she was getting worried and worried sick alongside with the others because both Naruto and Sasuke hasn't woken up once, and it has been already more than 24 hours since they have been passed out. As now we see, inside the tower they were taken to the infirmary, as Iruka sensei, who appeared there, then asked Sakura while taking her to the other side. While the Jonins were debriefing the team who helped Team 7, mainly Asuma himself. As now we see, Iruka then said, Sakura, I don't know what happened out there. It was Orochimaru sensei. What? You met him? As Iruka's eyes narrowed. He was the sensei of the Genins who have been placed in the Chunin Exams. All the rookies that were there in doing the Chunin Exams were his batch, his class, and now, as their sensei, he was worried about all of them. If Orochimaru was here, God knows who else was. But hearing Orochimaru's name alone sent chills down even his spine. He asked to inform Hokage-sama, and this was in an instant that he needed to know. As after that, Iruka then said, Listen now, Sakura. Remain with the other two. You still have time to recover. Hopefully you will be before the next part begins. There are still 2 days left, so hopefully both of them will be able to get back on their feet. I mean, knowing Naruto, he will. And Sasuke, he's strong too. You have strong teammates. You don't have to worry about anything, Sakura. I have to go and tell this what you have told me to do Hokage-sama. As with that, Iruka nodded, and then, after reassuring the girl, he left. While on the other side, Sakura was left with a thought of her own. Both of her teammates were strong. Even Naruto Baka was strong. He went head first and was even able to injured in a battle against Orochimaru, one of the legendary Sanins, ranked alongside one of the strongest shinobis in the whole world. And her, she just stood there and watched everything unfold before her eyes. And she couldn't do anything except for just stand there still with fear. And that hurted her more than anything. Hurted her pride of being the smartest Kunoichi in the class. As on the other side we see that in the infirmary room, Hokage Hiruzen Sarutobi was already informed. He was an old man who has survived 2 wars and have been able to survive in a profession where men die young. His successor, Minato no Mikaze, was quite an obvious, example, who died after 9th or 10 months of him being a Hokage only to save their village in a battle against the Kyuubi no Yoko. As now we see, Hiruzen was watching over both of the unconscious children who were in a battle against his student whom he allowed to live, and because of his mistake at the time, this was the price he had to pay. As that is when we see Kakashi Hatake as well as Jiraiya arrive there. Sensei, said Jiraiya. What is it, Jiraiya? The kid and the Uchiha, they are fine. The doctor said so. But they do not know what they have done. I need to see what Naruto's seal has gone through. From what the girl told us, said Jiraiya, the Orochimaru did something to Naruto's seal. As now we see, Hiruzen's eyes narrowed. Go and check and see what he has done. If there is any fault in the seal, we might have to do something about it, because we cannot have the Kyuubi leaking out of that seal and forming again to destroy our village. Not under these circumstances, and most certainly not now. I'll see so myself, Sensei. As with that, Jiraiya left. As now we see, Hiruzen closed his eyes, and that is when we see he spoke, when to break the silence between the other two who were standing there. Are you not going to say something to me, Kakashi? I apologize, Hokage-sama. I thought it would be best to, if you thought it would be best to train the Uchiha, while disregard the other two. I thought I owed to Obito. What about your sensei then, Kakashi? As Kakashi flinched when Hiruzen said these words. Minato did nothing to you? He took you in when your father died. As Kakashi looked down, as he felt something was piercing him, a rusted kunai straight through his chest was being pierced at slowly pace as each word left Hiruzen's mouth. He and Kushina both took you in and treated you like their own. And not only that, you also vowed that you would not allow this to happen again. Think about it. What would Obito and Rin think? Have you ever thought of that? Obito would have not wanted this from you. As Kakashi looked down, and all he could do was to just think and reflect on what the Hokage has said. It's enough. I do not need to listen to your explanation, Kakashi. But what I need you to do is act up as a sensei now. The one that you promised me to be when I gave you this team. I will, Hokage-sama. I won't disappoint. Good, because the next time you do, I will take your privileges of a sensei being away from them. As now we see, Kakashi with a bow then left with Sunshin. As on the other side, Hiruzen entered the room where he saw Jiraiya looking at the seal with serious expression. So, did you find anything? This is something that I do not thought of, Sensei. What do you mean? I know there are some traces of the seal, but I can't find them. What? What do you mean, Jiraiya? You are the seal master, the only one that Konoha has, and one of the best in the whole elemental nation as well, and you can find the kanjis of the seal? Yes. It seems he used something of a sort that is known as dissolving ink. What? There's a new type of ink going around, Sensei, used for Fuinjutsu. Only a few rare know about it. And that ink was used here by Orochimaru. It is untraceable. Once done, nobody except for the user can see it. Because the user mixes his own chakra into that ink. That is why it becomes invisible to everyone's eye, even to that of Dojutsu. Then how are we gonna trace that? If there is an option, said Jiraiya, as he gulped and then said, we might have to remove the seal and redo it. As Hiruzen's eyes widened, but that would take a lot of time, and what if Naruto and... That is what I am worried about, Sensei, said Jiraiya, cutting him off. If that is allowed to happen, Naruto might end up dying because the Biju taking this chance will break free. We have to do something. What? What do you think, Jiraiya? What should we do? For the time being, we have to wait until Naruto wakes up. And once he does, said Jiraiya with a serious expression, I'm gonna take him away from the village and tell him about this. And once he knows, I will remove this seal and then do it myself again. You know that the seal was Hakai-Fuyin. Your student died using that seal, Jiraiya, and I won't allow you to use it, said Hiruzen. As he then said, if anyone has to do it, it has to be me, because I owe it to Minato. This whole village does. What? Said Jiraiya, looking towards his sensei with a shock. But sensei, you're the Hokage? Who am I kidding? Jiraiya. I am an old man pretending to be a man in power, the man I was once in my prime. And I'm long past that. You know it. Everyone knows that. Every day they challenge my power, and even I begin to notice that there is a need for a new Hokage. And I think you would be the better candidate once I am done and gone. But Sensei, what about the spy network? Said Jiraiya, tried to concur and change his sensei's mind. Then there's only one. Tsunade. You have to bring her back. As Jiraiya's eyes widened as he then looked down with sad expression as he then said, you know her, Sensei. She won't come back, no matter what you say, no matter what we do. You have to try, Jiraiya. You have to try your best. As now we see, while the adults were talking and trying to convince each other of what to do and what not to do, inside Naruto, thanks to Orochimaru's seal that disrupted the seal that was working finally, confining the Biju within him, something happened. The chakra began to seep out from the prison that the Kyuubi was placed in. But Kyuubi's smile turned into a shock of horror when he began to notice what was happening. What? This cannot be! I cannot let this happen! The Biju thought to himself because he noticed that his chakra, his consciousness, was being merged by his Jinchuriki. But his Jinchuriki was knocked out in front of him. He tried his best to pull his arms and tails through the cage and slammed against the cage to break through it to kill the damn brat and break free, but he couldn't. As that is when we see the Biju, after venting out huge amount of rage and continuously trying for what seems like hours, then stopped as he was panting. I cannot believe this, the Biju said in a lower tone. Me, the Kyuubi no Yoko, the strongest demon in the whole elemental nation, going down by a brat, and he isn't even trying it. If I had a way, I would have ripped that snake's head apart. It would have been me. As that is when we see a soul appear in front of him, as the whole atmosphere changed. But Kyuubi knew who it was as his eyes widened. Father, is that you? Son, said an old man who was wearing white robes with black tomos surrounding his neck, as his skin was also pale white. Covered in wrinkles, he had grey hair as well, but his eyes were quite different and quite prominent, demanding respect from everyone, even from the most strongest Biju who called him father. They were the Rinnegan, and he was none other than Hagoromo Otsutsuki, the sage of the sixth path. And he, with a sad expression, said, I am here to take your soul. What? Said Kurama with a shock after finding out what his father was here to do. What do you mean by that, father? Is this a hallucination, a genjutsu of the cursed Uchiha? No, my son. The fate of this world has changed with what Orochimaru has done, and I'm afraid I have taken the souls of your siblings as well, to keep them safe, because what is about to happen is total chaos. This child, he will bring end to the shinobi world. His rage combined with yours is more than enough to already destroy Konoha, but it will only increase with time. As Kurama's eyes widened when he heard this. What? And you're okay with this? Said Kurama with shocked and quite a worrying expression. You love this nation, you love them, father, and you're going to allow this kid to just do what he pleases with them? I have made a mistake, son. I believed in them and put faith in them too much, and look what it costed me. You all have suffered for more than many years I could count. I still to this day regret giving them chakra, because I feared that this might happen. I knew that this might happen, and yet I did, putting my hope and trust in them, and it has costed me already more than enough. As Kurama was shocked, was this really his father or a genjutsu speaking? He seemed quite dejected and down, and was speaking negatives. Maybe he was dying because he was being consumed by the brat, and this was his subconsciousness telling him to accept his death. As Kurama then said, trying his best to believe that this was reality, then why? Why did you give up on them? Why did you give up on everything? Because I noticed, even us, strongest being who claims to be God, can make mistake. And once this mistake is made, it has greater consequences than we all can imagine. Much more greater, and on a larger scale than even you or I can imagine. And I am only noticing this now. This all was a mistake, Kurama. But I at least now can do is just save my family. A little bit of family that I have left. But what will happen? The world will end itself. Because the wars, the hatred, and the ego and greed, it has already consumed them all. And soon, the hatred will. And once this hatred grows inside that boy, he will explode And once that explosion happens, everything that catches within its vicinity and range will be wiped out. And that is what I fear. I fear that I will lose the little family that I have left. So come with me, my child. We must hurry. As now we see, Kurama gave his hand to the sage as he saw that his hand began to shrink, and he returned back to his smaller self. And with that, the sage and the Biju soul disappeared as the seal began to crumble down, and Naruto began to wake up. As now we see, back in the reality, Naruto woke up with a gasp as he was laying in a room, panting heavily. As there stood on the door, he noticed with his blurry vision was someone. Who is it? Said Naruto as his hands were up, shaking albeit a bit, because he thought that he was still in a battle. The adrenaline from the battle that he had with the Sanin still hasn't left his body, and because of the muscle memory, he was now in a defensive position. As that is when we see, the man then said, "It's me, Kakashi." As Naruto then calmed his nerves when he began to notice that it really was him. "Sensei, it's you." "Naruto, what happened? How did this all happen?" "It's fine, Sensei. I gave that Sanin a good beating. He was Orochi or something, I don't know what his name was. The snake freak. He tried to take Sasuke away. He wanted him. But then he attacked us to test out how much the Konoha shinobis are worth these time of days, as he said Naruto with a scrunched up nose as his rage increased. And I couldn't believe that he had the audacity to say that. Mock the Hokages. If it was to me, I would have ripped him to shreds then and there, said Naruto as he began to shake with pure rage, as Kakashi watching Naruto was quite shocked. Naruto, are you okay?" "Of course not, Sensei. I'm not okay. I let that bastard slip and walk free after he defeated and humiliated me. I shouldn't have. I should have killed him then and there. Naruto, are you sure you're okay? Because you're acting weird." "Weird? What are you talking about, Sensei?" said Naruto with a snarl on his face. "It seems that you're..." Yeah, I'm not a morning person, Sensei. You know it as well. Obviously, I'm cranky because I got my ass handed to me, and not only that, I lost a battle. And maybe I'm also not going to be a Chunin now, am I?" "No, Naruto. Actually, doctors told me that you would wake up in an hour or so I told them to push your match back. The Chunin Exam second round, the Force of Death exam, has been over. You woke up just in the nick of time. There's still a few hours, as you have enough time to go and fight your battle in the preliminary rounds to move to the final exams." "What? Why didn't you say so that in the beginning then?" As that is when Naruto tried to get up but fell down to his knees, as he scrunched down and held both of his hands against his stomach. "Oh my god," as there was a growl from his stomach. "I'm starving." "And that might be the reason why I pushed your battle back. Because of the adrenaline still kicking in your body, I have noticed that you might be hungry when you woke up." Very funny, Sensei. Now can we go grab something to eat?" "Well, lucky for you, kid," said another voice, as in came Tenoichi and Ayame. "Hey, Naruto." As Naruto, seeing them, was now in the brightest of moods as he began to smile, as Kakashi noticed that Naruto's behavior instantly took 180 degrees turn when they were here. Ayame, old man Tenoichi, the only people I wanted to see now." "Yeah, and we brought you a lot of ramen, Naruto. We heard you faced a strong foe, so you need all the strength now to recover and go and become a Chunin. After all, these ramens aren't going to sell themselves, am I right? Once you become a Hokage." "You betcha, old man. Once I become Hokage, the ramen will be the national dish of the whole world. You betcha." As the old man then chuckled and laughed, as that is when he then said, Kid, you're quite funny. Don't you mean Konoha? No, I'm serious, the whole world." As now we see, Kakashi also noticed that, while the other two laughed, that Naruto was being serious. "I need to tell this to the Hokage. Naruto's behavior is quite different. Something is wrong here. I need to know what. But will he allow it? Naruto, can I check your seal?" What? Can't you see I am eating right now? Please, allow me to eat at peace at least. You can check all you want later on, you perv. As Kakashi, now hiding his blush underneath his mask because his student just turned him into a pervert in front of the other two who were also looking at him with a shocked and awkward expression, then said, What? Naruto, I didn't mean it like that. I need to see, what? That sounds like a perv to me, said Ayame. As Kakashi then said, to hell with this. I'm going towards the Hokage to tell him. And with that, Kakashi just left. As now we see Naruto then begin to enjoy his ramen. As now we see, time began to pass by as soon Naruto Uzumaki was called in the stand. As Naruto just walked there with a serious expression. In front of him was Kiba, who alongside his Ninken Bob Akamaru then said, easy pickings. We're gonna take this bastard down and secure our spot in the Chunin Exams. As before Naruto could advance, he saw that some of the medics were taking someone away, but Naruto noticed who it was instantly. It was the Yuga girl, Hinata, and she was laying in a stretcher and was badly injured. There were a few drops of blood falling down from her hand as well, as Naruto dashed and appeared in front of her in an instant, shocking everyone, as Naruto lifted up the white cover that was covering her body to see that Hinata was barely breathing and holding on. What happened? As the Jonin then grabbed his hand, but Naruto did something that even scared them all. Naruto literally, in a flash of an eye, ripped his hand that was grabbing him, as now we see the man stumble back with a stump where his hand was, as the blood was seeping out as he screamed in agony. I said, what happened here? As everyone was now quiet, pin-drop silence in the whole arena filled with people, and even the Hokages and every other Jonin and Shinobi. And even their eyes couldn't see or notice what just happened. You just attacked the Shinobi. I said what happened to her. What is it to you? She is my friend. I did this, said a man or a kid standing on the other side, that Naruto now noticed. She deserved it. Fate has already declared me the winner. She just should have given up, but she didn't. And she paid before he could finish, Naruto in an instant appeared in front of him, grabbed him by the face so hard that his bones cracked, the bones of the skull of the boy, and slammed him into the wall. And once Naruto pulled back his hand, the skin of the face of the boy was ripped alongside the headband, as Naruto, looking at the boy's face that was now in the form of a flesh on his hand, and threw it on the ground. As we see Neji, the boy in question, screamed in agony. His innards of the face were shown, his eyes, bleeding muscles, as well as his teeth, and everyone watching in the stand was horrified down to their core. Even the most seasoned Jonins and even the Hokages themselves was terrified, but not one person, and that was none other than the Kazekage, Rasa, or in reality Orochimaru, who was quite shocked at what the seal that he has developed to give power to certain people that was in testing could do. My oh my. So the seal is success. What if I apply this on myself? After all, this seal boosts up a person's emotions and strength tenfolds. This will certainly be quite an interesting match to watch. While this was going on, we see Tsumi Inuzuka that jumped down, protecting her son in an instant. I, as the Inuzuka clan head, forfeit this match. I won't allow my son to battle against him. He has already done something harmful to a S-rank Jonin, and not only that, did horrific thing to that boy. As Hiyashi then jumped down as well. How dare you do this to him? As in an instant, Naruto then did something more horrific. He slashed, and what happened next was quite terrifying. Hiyashi's whole face was sliced off into 3 pieces, falling down like dominoes, one after the other. As the other Jonins and everyone else noticing this then charged at him. Naruto was not contained, and what happened next was Naruto, in a blink of an eye, blitzed straight through them, as the whole arena was covered in blood, and so was Naruto. But that is when they began to notice some changes. Naruto's hands, they begin to turn into claws. His eyes, they begin to morph into red instead of blue hues, and they had a slit in them. His whisker marks begin to go thicken, as his teeth turned into canines. "You all. I remember you all," said Naruto as he began to have flashes of the past. "You all did this to me. You all call me a demon. I didn't ask to be a demon, and yet you hated me for it. What did I ever do to you to deserve all those beatings?" yelled out Naruto, as a roar escaped his mouth, and huge gust of chakra was released as the whole stadium began to shake with the pure potent chakra that Naruto was releasing. Blue mixed with red and orange was being revolving around Naruto, as in a Super Saiyan-like aura, it was now covering Naruto as a whole, as Naruto's whole body was shaking as well alongside the whole stadium because of the power that was just leaking out of his body. But Naruto wasn't calming down, and that is when we see Hiruzen Sarutobi then jumped in alongside Jiraiya and Kakashi, who were in a defensive position. "Naruto, my boy, calm down. You are the biggest of the liars out of all of them, Hiruzen Sarutobi. You told them that everything will be fine. You told me that they would understand. It has been 13 years. Since the day I could walk, I have been trying to fend for myself. What did I do to deserve this? Tell me, goddammit, tell me!" said Naruto, as huge amount of chakra, much more than before, released, causing cracks to form in the whole stadium. As that is when even Orochimaru knew he fucked up, as Orochimaru also alongside the other Kages, keeping up the act, and jumped down. "Hokage, what is the meaning of this? You didn't tell us that you have a violent Jinchuriki." "You," said Naruto as he grabbed Kazekage and literally ripped out his face skin to reveal Orochimaru in between. And then what happened next was much more horrifying for everyone to watch. Many people, even some of the Jonins, then puked. Naruto sat down on top of him and literally, using his claws, began to butcher him in such a way that even Orochimaru couldn't hold back his screams of agony. His screams of agony sent chills down their spine. Even some of the Jonins who were watching there alongside the armbrust then wetted their pants. While this was going on, think about what would have been the thoughts of the Genins who were participating. What would have been the thoughts of, well, Kiba, who was about to fight Naruto, saying that he was an easy picking. He was passed out and foaming from his mouth, while on the other side Sakura was terrified, as now we see she arrived foolishly in the battle. "Naruto, stop it, you idiot! What are you doing?" "Yeah, dope, what are you doing?" said Sasuke, as he limpingly walked there as well. You're okay." "Of course I am, you idiot. What have you done?" "What do you mean, what have I done?" As Naruto began to finally notice, as he regained his self back a bit, that everyone was looking at him with terrified expression. His hands, they were stained in red that was dropping down from his nails, each droplet at a time. It was still fresh, as Naruto's face, his whole clothes, everything was covered in blood, bloody red. As that is when Naruto looked towards his Gigi. Old man Hokage, what is going on with me? Did I do this?" As that is when Hiruzen noticed that Naruto has regained his self a bit. "No, it isn't your fault, kid. It is his fault! The demon is breaking free!" yelled out one of the civilians. And that is when the other civilians, saying that this might be their chance since the boy has awakened in a weakened state to get their revenge on what he has just done and displayed, making their fears come true, get their revenge, threw many things at him. Naruto's friend noticed this as they tried to take Naruto away from there, but it was already too late. Once more rage consumed him, and what followed suit was an avatar of Biju, completely in red and black linings, as Naruto stood in center of it, like a Susanoo surrounding him, but in a cubified state, then began to destroy Konoha. As anyone stood in his way, either a friend or a foe, now it didn't matter. All he had to do was vent out his rage, and the rage of the previous 13 years he vent out, as the people's screams could be heard miles away by the other villages, and so did the vibrations of the destruction being caused there by the Jinchuriki that has gone rogue. As the destruction continued on, consuming even the other villages by taking the lives of their Kage and many of the Jonins and the Genins that participated there. But what Naruto didn't do was kill some of the people, and that was his true friends, Shikamaru and Choji, who was with him all the way. As some of the Well, clan heads were also spared because they took refuge behind their children who were at one time Naruto's friends. And the only person who was capable of stopping Naruto at the time was Iruka himself. As Naruto was about to deface the Hokage monument after killing Danzo and many of the Anbus, millions of shinobis from different elemental nations who have been called back as the backup. After wiping them all out and the others being able to survive somewhat, only Iruka stood on top of the Hokage monument as Naruto looked at him with rage. Naruto? I know that you're within there somewhere. I know you're angry. I know you are hurting. But please, I beg of you. The village has learned its lesson. You have showed them how much hurt you were by their words. It's enough. As Naruto roared at him, don't make me do this, Naruto. I want my brother back. As with that word said, Naruto just stood there. As he then looked at Iruka, who had tears in his eyes. As that is when Naruto turned his head towards everywhere and saw nothing more than destruction, death of many shinobis. As that is when he looked towards his sensei again and said only these words, while still being consumed in rage that was now cold fury and silent fury. Iruka Sensei. As the huge demonic voice said this, he then said this in slowly words, what have I done? And with these words said, Naruto turned around and dashed as fast as he could. No, wait! Said Iruka, but it was already too late. Naruto dashed as fast as he could, getting away from there, reminiscing of what he has done. But somehow, deep within him, a part was satisfied that he at least was able to not harm, even in his subconsciousness, those people who have been good to him. Such as the only building at that moment standing in the whole elemental nation, surprisingly, while being in the vicinity of destruction more than enough times, was the Ichiraku ramen stall, and as well as the building where Naruto lived. These two are the only buildings and the reminders of Naruto that survived, because these two were the places the most that he cherished. And once more, another place was found soon after that, when Naruto disappeared. It was the academy, the years where he met with Iruka, made two of his friends, Shikamaru and Choji, and also realized the girl who has been kind to him, the girl he went ballistic for, the girl whom he really loved, Hinata. As now we see, no sign of Naruto was found, as Kakashi Hatake, the acting Hokage for the time being, while his left side was mutilated like Danzo, covered in bandages, was seated there on the Hokage office. As the other nation also chose a new leader, and they all had one thing to now search for, Naruto Uzumaki. Because one thing they all learned was to treat a Jinchuriki with respect, aside from Kuma, because they already did. And they too learned what could have gone wrong if they didn't, because the Jinchuriki, with his blinding rage, not only started the destruction of Konoha, he almost consumed the whole elemental nations. Even the nations like the Fire Nation and the other nations were, well, hit badly, because they too felt the chakra, and when they sent out backups to Konoha for the whole week that the destruction pursued, even they took a huge blow when Naruto killed them like insects. And as for Naruto, he was now currently far away on a snowy land, far away from the whole elemental nation, as much far as he could get, until he could barely sense any ounce of chakra still curling up in his beast form, as he was still getting more and more beastier as the day passed. As now we see in a cave, two red eyes while watching out the blizzard in front of him, as he still had a lot to think about. This new power, this new identity that he had gotten after his fight with Orochimaru. He did not knew whom he was now. Was he the QB? Was he the still cheerful blonde boy Naruto? One thing was for certain, even if he was either both of them, he has lost a huge chunk of who he was before. And no matter what he do or what he can do, he would never get it back. Not after what he has done. His innocence, his humanity, they have been stripped for him. And God knows who else might be out there searching for him as well. As now we go towards Amegakure, after where the display of the destruction showed by, well, Naruto, everyone else was on edge. And one more thing was also concerning, as the Akatsuki, the secret organization who has been running this village, was having a meeting there and talking, made up of the most dangerous criminals of the whole elemental nation. Aside from talking about Naruto, said Zetsu, one of them, we have also noticed that the Jinchurikis have been not using the Biju's power. The Bijus within them that were sealed many years ago or recently. Nobody can sense them, not even themselves. And more people like that, the Jinchurikis are rising and saying that. The people, although who were feared, were quite happy. But those people who relied on them, they're afraid. And due to that, the elemental nation has agreed on one thing. And that is to cause a ceasefire and form peace. Something that should have happened long before, even when our lives were turned upside down. Said none other than Konan, also a prominent member of the Akatsuki known as the Paper Angel. Whatever it might have been, we can only hope for a better future. A future for Amegakure. For those who wish to stay and help me lead this village, can stay. And as for those who don't want to, they can leave the Akatsuki and do whatever they please. So, Kisame, Kakazu, Hidan, Sasori, Deidara, Zetsu, and as well as Tobi all left, leaving Itachi as well as Pain and Konan. Only a few members remained. Why? Because they cared about the betterment of the people, while the others had their own agenda, and knowing that they couldn't ever be fulfilled, they all left. As now we go towards the Uchiha Shrine, where we see a man destroying the Uchiha Shrine stone that the Madara thought that he himself wrote in his dream. Damn it! Damn it all to hell! What has gone to this world? Where has every Biju disappeared off to? Without them we can never use the infinite Tsukiyomi, Madara-sama, said Zetsu, speaking to Tobi, the masked person, who in reality was none other than fake Madara. And in reality, he was Obito Uchiha, grandson of Madara Uchiha, and the member of the previous Team 7, who was under Minato no Mikaze, the 4th Hokage, and he was the one who killed his sensei, all because his friend Kakashi couldn't make their promise fulfill, and that was simple enough to protect Rin. And to bring her back, he needed to destroy this world and system. But it was already in shambles, all thanks to Naruto Uzumaki. What are we gonna do now, Obito? I'll tell you what we're gonna do. If we can't do the infinite Tsukiyomi, then we're gonna go and have a talk with Naruto Uzumaki after finding him. But he could be anywhere. It might take us years, so be it. We are gonna do our search, and we're gonna begin now, Zetsu. It is high time I deal with that brat and end the legacy of Namikaze Uzumaki. As now we see, Obito and both Zetsu went out of their way, traveling years to no ends to trace down Naruto, but even they couldn't. But they still haven't given up. As years have passed, the tales of Naruto incident has only become that, just tales. But the people who have survived through it, they to this day have told that Naruto in reality exists, and he has been the one who caused the destruction of elemental nations. As now we go towards the Hokage office, where we see the rookies at that time of Chunin exams all grown up, and all of them are joining in their own right and leading some of their own clans, as Hinata was standing in front of the Kakashi Hatake's office with Jiraiya. You have been trained by both Jiraiya-sama and Tsunade-sama, Hinata Yuga, and as the leader of the Yuga clan and the only person involved who started the destruction all those years ago, you are ordered to find Naruto Uzumaki and bring him back. As Hinata then said, may I ask Hokage-sama one thing? What is it? What are you going to do with him? Nothing. We need to find him. He suffered, and because of his suffering that turned into rage, we suffered. The peace has been, prevailed for the past 10 years. And now, all of the people think that it is because of this Naruto that this happened. That thinking of old ways have changed. To be honest, it is quite despicable. At one point, these people hated him to his core, and now that he has become what they wanted him to become, they all want him back. Konoha wants him back. Just say it, that it is because of his powers, the abilities that he possesses to make Konoha supreme. And all these people here, all of them want him for his powers, because he is the legacy of Namikaze and Uzumaki. Enough, Sasuke. You have no right to say that. Oh, please. Like I'm lying here, right? I'm not lying, and you know it as well as everyone here, Kakashi, Jiraiya. Sasuke-kun, you're talking to the Hokage. Please refrain from using that language, said Sakura. Enough of this, Sakura. He was our teammate. We might have disrespected him at time. I saw him as a rival, a friend. In my own way, in his own way, we saw each other as such. I know it. And knowing Naruto, he doesn't want to be found. He doesn't want to be involved in your lives. Why can't you let him be free for once? It doesn't matter. Hinata, do you accept this mission? With all due respect, I don't. I'm not accepting this mission, not one bit. But you are the only one who can bring him back, Hinata-sama, said one of the civilians. I won't. If Naruto-kun doesn't want to be found, the least we can do after all the trouble that he has gone through, after everything he has done, we should respect his wishes. As now we see, everyone agreed because the person in question didn't want to do this mission and was on probation because of denying the orders of the Hokage by the council. As now we see Hinata back in her office. As there all alone, she was working tirelessly to bring both the branch and the main family back. While this was going on, we see a person appear from the shadows. A person with long nails that were sharp like claws, but instead of harming her, he gave her a hug. Hinata-chan? What? Why are you so tired today? What happened? Please tell me, said a deep grumbling demonic voice, but in a cute and yet loving manner. This was none other than Naruto Uzumaki, the man in question who was being searched by the whole elemental nation as their hero, the person who have suffered and wanted to be brought back. Because they all have noticed one thing. Over the course of years, many people known as Otsuzukis have begun to appear, and as soon as they did, a huge chakra signature would appear and wipe them out. And that chakra signature was none other than Naruto Uzumaki. Most suspected that, but Konoha, being the prime example of the rage that they felt all those years ago alongside the others who were there able to survive, they all knew one thing, that it was really Naruto. And they wanted him back. They wanted Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze back. The strongest shinobi known to the whole elemental nation, making even Hashirama and Madara look like children in front of his power that he possessed. As for Naruto and Hinata, they have been married secretly, and not even her clan knew about it. I have been fine. They have been requesting me to find a certain someone. What do you think, Naruto? Do you really think? No. No matter what happens, I won't go back. The only reason I protect this place is because you reside here, my love. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have found my true self back then. I hated the fact how I found out, but I still have to thank you. I still hate the fact that Neji has to go out like that, but I wish you could have restrained there. That bastard deserved every ounce of thing I did to him. How dare he lay his hand on my beloved? As Hinata flinched as her whole face turned red, because whenever Naruto acted like this, she kind of was turned on, and she was madly in love with him as well. As after that, Naruto then said, I have to go away for the time being, my love. I won't be able to return, because it seems that the seal is acting up again. I have to be away, or otherwise they all would notice. I'll be sad. You don't have to be. You know the Hairishin Jutsu, right? Yes, I know. Use it to visit me whenever you want. I'll take your tri-pronged kunai with me this time, Hinata-chan. And trust me when I say this, I'm waiting for you. Always. With a wink, Naruto disappeared as soon as he appeared, as Hinata was left there with a blushing mess of herself. As that is when there was a knock on the door. Hinata-sama, there's the clansman that wants to meet you. I'm coming, tell them. As Hinata, gathering herself, then left. And as for Naruto, he was still somewhere out there for most of the people. But for his friends like Tenoichi, Ayame, Hinata, and Iruka, they knew where he was all of the time. He visited them regularly by masking his chakra so that nobody could find him. And as for Naruto, he really found himself. No more he was a tool of people to mold and manipulate. He was his own person, free from all the moldings that they tried to shape him in, free from all the people that spewed words to him, making them sound like his own. He was free, and he was Naruto Uzumaki. As this is where I'm going to be leaving this story off, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one, and if you did, then make sure you leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you like the content of this channel, as this is Apollo Uchiha, and I'm signing off for the day. Peace.